Hello everybody, eto na naman po ang iyong kaibigan, Attorney Sam Agalos. And yes, welcome to my another episode dito sa ating Usapang Legal tungkol sa mga ari-arian. Now, in my previous radio program, I was asked this question. Ano ba daw ang diferensya? What is the difference between judicial and extrajudicial settlement of estate? So, before I answer that question, alamin natin, what is the meaning of estate? What is an estate of a deceased person? The estate of a deceased person means his lands, vehicles, bank accounts, investments, insurance, furnitures, jewelries, and other items of value. And these are transmitted to his heirs either through, number one, testamentary succession, or by intestate succession. So, yun yung dalawang succession dito sa Philippines. Intestate succession and testamentary succession. Now, what is testamentary succession? Ito yon. Kung yung namatay na tao, if the deceased person dies and leaves a valid will, then testamentary succession takes place. In testamentary succession, yung deceased person, ang tawag sa kanya ay testator. Now, if this happens, you need to go to court because the law requires that before the will is given effect, it must go through probate proceedings. Anong nangyayari sa probate proceedings? Well, the court needs to check whether the will followed all the strict legal formalities in the execution of the last will and testament. Bakit? Because the court needs to protect the interest of the testator who is now dead, so that the court will be assured and will be able to see whether or not there are irregularities that were made during the execution of the will. Now, kung the court determines that the will is valid, then it appoints the executor who will administer the estate and implement the provisions of the will. Ngayon, ano naman ang intestate succession? Ito yon. When someone dies with no will, so intestate succession happens. So there are two kinds of settlement. It is what we call the judicial settlement of estate and extrajudicial settlement of estate. Ano yung judicial settlement of estate? The court will appoint an administrator who will administer the estate. At ito yon, nangyayari ito if the heirs do not agree on how to settle the estate of the decedent. Kung mayroong hindi pagkakaunawaan yung mga tagapagmana, hindi nila ma-settle yung kanilang estate, so judicial settlement takes place. Now, ano yung role ng administrator? The administrator will make sure that the obligations of the estate are paid, and ano yung mga debts ng mga ng estate. Well, nandun lahat yung mga maintenance, yung mga administrative expenses, taxes, tapos yun. And then the administrator will file before the court a proposal on how to divide the estate. At ano naman ang extrajudicial settlement? Ito yon. When all the heirs agree to settle the estate outside of court or extrajudicially. Ngayon, there are certain things or certain requirements for extrajudicial settlement to happen. Number one, the decedent left no will. Number two, walang utang, or the decedent did not leave any debts. Or kung mayroon mang utang, bayad na. And number three, there are several heirs who are all of age. At kung may mga minors naman, they are duly represented by their legal representative. Now, kung lahat ang mga yon, you meet all those requirements, then you can settle the estate extrajudicially. So the heirs can agree on how to divide the estate among themselves, and they will execute an instrument called extrajudicial settlement. Paano pag there's only one heir? Then the heir should execute an affidavit of sole adjudication instead of an extrajudicial settlement. Then, all these documents will undergo publication, and taxes and fees must be paid within the period prescribed by law. And then, all the heirs should secure the necessary certifications para yung mga properties na nakalaan sa kanila will be transferred to their names. Now, going back to the question, ano yung mas maganda? Extrajudicial settlement or judicial settlement? Let me give you the advantages and disadvantages of judicial settlement. The advantage of a judicial settlement is this: there is an impartial party, which is the court, who decides how to legally and fairly divide and distribute the estate. At ano yung mga disadvantages? Number 1, stressful. Number 2, expensive. And number 3, it takes time for the court to render judgment. Now, ano naman ang advantages and disadvantages ng extrajudicial settlement? Advantages: less costly, faster way in settling the estate. Number 3, less complicated. And number 4, less stressful. Kaya, kung tanungin niyo ako, ano ang mas maganda? Judicial settlement or extrajudicial settlement? Ito po yun. Between judicial settlement and extrajudicial settlement, I recommend extrajudicial settlement. Bakit? Because it is faster, easier, less expensive, less stressful, and more importantly, the parties can avoid strained relationship between and among themselves. Sana po nakatulong itong video na ito sa inyo. And yes, we are here to help you on your real property issues, because we can help you. We want to help you protect your property, recover your property, and monetize your property. So keep on watching, keep on subscribing to our videos. This is Attorney Sam Maganda saying thank you, and to God be all the glory.